Well, it's 7 o'clock. I think we'll call planning board meeting to order, 7 February 8th, 2024. David is on a printer run right now. Take a look at the January. That's when David gets back. We'll relax on those. Beg pardon? The January?
Minutes? Yeah. No. Oh, you know what? I don't know if Steve ever sent out, I was gone, so I don't know. And I apologize.
Morning. I've got these. You can take a quick look at if you so desire.
Okay.
Yeah, we were a little out of shape last week.
Last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Thank you.
David, we're looking at the January minutes. They've opened the meeting already. Okay. Darcy made a couple of additions, minor clarification. It doesn't change anything.
Some wording.
Should accept the minutes.
Second. All in favor? January minutes are unanimous.
Right,
Yep, sorry.
we're all voting members tonight.
Yes.
You have to say that for the record.
Yeah, I'm sorry, it's true. Right, and members, no. Okay, under old business, we have Taylor Milliken. The site plan is the first one that I've seen. Just seen it.
So would you give us a synopsis of what you're doing again?
So we bought the very small house with the detached garage on the 50 acre parcel. Lot 15. We divided that off. We bought that and we renovated it and sold it to my wife's mother. And now we're building behind her in that same field. And then my wife's grandparents decided they'd like to come live out in the field with us, so we wanted to divide another lot, and then in creating that third lot, by terminology became a subdivision. We're just gonna get that third proposed lot that's for a gift to our grandparents.
I heard you just say 15 acres.
Yes.
Why are we 12 acres on the application?
So we divided, that lot that we divided up on the corner was a 3 acre lot. I guess the remaining acres that I own is 15 acres. Well, so
All three lots are technically relative, so
yes,
meet the subdivision law. That's the exception in the subdivision law, that you can give away lots to relatives without penalized
Yeah.
or held in abeyance with the three
Yeah, you can
lots.
gift it.
You can give to grandparents and you can give especially to a wife.
That's what's happening with lot 2. It's being gifted.
yes.
Is there any other issues that anyone has on the board, or? If not, I would, I guess, entertain a motion to,
I make a motion to accept the application, accept the subdivision
second.
Second.
as a gifted lot.
I'm sorry.
It's as a gifted lot.
Yes. Hopefully, this isn't gonna satisfy, Dave Mills, but I see no reason why she create any issues. I don't know, did you see the email from Dave? Yeah.
Doesn't work because state law reflects that a lot can be gifted.
Oh, it was unanimous on approval? We voted?
You didn't vote yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a
Okay.
question. On this sheet, I can see where the well is. But is it lot number 2, proposed gift? Right. Putting that off, and I just don't see any designation as far as the well, septic, those kinds of things. Is that something that?
On lot 2 that's gifted?
Yeah,
At this point, we don't have to.
that's my next question is, we don't need to see that.
No, we don't have to.
Okay.
We don't need to see that.
Okay,
That could stay like it is for 10 years.
yep.
Yep.
Okay,
Okay,
my only question.
that's it. We'll entertain a motion.
Very good.
Yeah.
We did that.
And seconded.
And second,
Okay, all in favor of approving it? Unanimous? You're quite welcome. Did you autograph the sign-in sheet? We want to make sure you were here.
We did. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, Taylor. Okay, let's run to new business with Mr. I guess concern I have, that would, anyways, gonna have to, up with a site plan. It's pretty much locating where he intends to build a garage with dimensions.
Yeah, that's.
Oh, is that right? Okay, that I didn't get.
Oh, that you didn't get? You were probably. Okay, this here.
The height that I'm building is probably 50 to 60 feet between the property line. So directly behind, my neighbors that's already there, they have a garage. Pad that's already been prepped years ago for the garage. The intention became you guys the first time putting the pad for a garage. It's supposed to be 24 by 24 with single bay with a working off. Aware that there's some drainage issues around it, so I plan on not making, you know, a drain in the floor and all of that kind of stuff. It's going to be a little bit elevated so that it's safely out of any.
As we went around with this in 2008, I guess if we approve it, one of the conditions that probably be made is the CEO does a quick site and verify that you satisfy DEP from the 08
Requirements
violations.
that they had then. Yes.
I'm sorry?
You mean as far as the requirements that?
Yes.
The code enforcement officer back then came over and he was on me. He made sure that I was, because he had initially insinuated I had made the lot too big. But I was following the state of Maine requirements.
Yeah.
And he said, well, Monmouth was different than the state of Maine.
Yeah.
So we had shrunk the lot up, the width of it anyway. That's what I kind of went with.
We just need to make sure that before the building permits issued, you didn't get carried away and brought in 1,000 yards of gravel.
No, actually, that was all done when the officer.
Yeah. Only a few years since then.
Yeah.
Back here.
So what is it, do I know? I just want to know, do I move forward on kind of figuring out the engineering on the garage, or am I not allowed, am I hold off?
In a few minutes, okay? Bonnie, you got some concerns or
Well, I'm
questions?
seeing wet and wet, and I'm just,
Yeah, the wet is I don't know if you're familiar with the Howards is on that. road.
oh, yeah.
I'm their neighbor, so I'm right in that saddle.
Mhm.
And the Ridge Road itself has a large pipe that comes down Ridge Road itself.
Mhm.
That catches a few culverts, and those culverts dump the water onto my land. And that's the wet. The culvert that goes across the road right in that same spot isn't being maintained. So it has a big steel flat that's, because it's D-shaped, flats up and then floods part of my property, the pad. So part of what I've been doing is calling the road commission, asking them if they would look at replacing the culvert.
Mhm.
It's needing it, it's needing to be replaced, it's full of silt,
wet is from that, it's backing up a little bit on my property.
David, can you, make Bonnie feel a little better or?
Well, I still, I have not looked at it in a long time. I had lots of concerns back then, as he knows, and he tried to clear up most of them, I think. Again, I don't remember what transpired after the planning board's decision. I would feel much better, knowing that, DEP is okay with the next phase of construction on the property.
Yeah. Okay, so in a way, DEP.
Whether they're gonna require a permit by rule or not, I would rather have them make that decision. I know Amy is not there anymore. They had a permit by rule, back then,
Right,
since expired, because it wasn't done.
right.
Um,
Question I got is this property in shoreline zone?
no, it's,
No, it could be.
it was, like he explained, it was the low spot of Ridge Road.
Okay.
So it's actually more man-made than nature-made. It's nature-made because of its location. And he does get water.
That's back a few years, but I guess,
This is 2008.
yeah, that's why David's saying, everything's history void.
2008.
No, it might have healed itself by now, and I'm sure it has, because it's been so long, but I don't want to be the one making that determination.
That's why I say if, the board decides to approve Mr. Tangley's project, a condition that I would make is that Andy verifies everything before he issues a permit.
Whether it's just having them make a new application to DEP for a permit by rule.
Yeah, that would be part of the
And
condition.
that might cover it. I'm not 100% sure, but I think so. I think it would. I would like to have a current one on file.
Yeah.
Just the same decisions as we made last time.
Just make that one of the conditions.
Yeah. I mean, you can use this condition of approval and just modify to today's date and bring it up to date if you want to carry it forward. I don't think the laws changed too much, but that's up to them to decide.
Yeah. Yeah, 2008. Lots of things have changed.
Yeah, I'm not asking to increase the size of the lot that's already clear, the pad that's already there, the gravel's already there. If anything, I'm gonna go up a little bit, but the garage is actually gonna sit, period, no adding off.
But you're still close to the drainage
Yeah.
from, from Howard's side. Then you have that drainage scow that goes to the road or from the road. I'd like them to make that determination. It's not a stream. It's a storm drain.
Drainage.
Drainage, but 8 years ago, in 2008, it was wet.
Yeah, the pipe that drops onto my land is probably a 24.
It's a lot of
And
water.
it catches everything from the ridge road all the way down. To 32.
Right.
Yeah, and the other thing, Mr. Tangley, DEP might have made a change of some sort that none of us are aware of, so that, like David's suggestion of requiring a new permit by rule will cover us and you. So
Just to make sure.
with that said, do you have a motion to approve Mr. Tangley's project?
I make a motion to approve his project with the condition that he submits DEP permit by rule.
Second.
The standard Monmouth conditions.
As well. Yep.
And the one that I would make is that our CEO verify that nothing's changed. Our site, even though we do have a new DEP approval, maybe. One got any other conditions that be necessary?
Someone second that.
I think he did.
Yes.
All right, no more conditions?
Okay, as long as the wet.
All right, approve it.
Yep.
Unanimous. That's it for the moment. You're gonna run for a permit.
Yes, I'll stop it.
Sure. Okay. Have somebody from Soul America. That's up next to give us some kind of idea what's happening.
So I'm Tony from Soul America. Got Lauren here with me. She's also from Soul America. Brian is on video. Got Tom here from CRT and a couple of his colleagues are on as well. Thank you for having us tonight. Looking forward to explaining a little bit about our project on South Monmouth and Fish Hatchery. If there's anything you'd like to know about Soul America, happy to go into that, but it's like to just jump right into the project. I'll let Tom take it away from there.
You have no material to give us, or
We emailed a set of plans and drawings ahead of time.
yeah, because all we've got is a site plan. So I received.
Yeah, so we're just looking pre-application right now.
Just pre-application.
I'm not trying to block it, so. So we're proposing slightly below 1 megawatt AC single axis tracker solar array. It's lot 20 on NAP 8, just the corner south of Fish Hatchery Road and west of South Monmouth Road. You might be familiar with it. There's an existing curb cut and driveway here and kind of an old paved area that used to be a building. It's since been demolished. Overall, the fenced in array area is about 6 acres. And then we're gonna have a 16-foot wide gravel driveway, about 700 feet with the NFPA turnaround at the end. We've done complete wetland delineations. These green hatched in areas are like wet. So they're jurisdictional wetlands in the fields. They've been mowed, they've been hayed over time. And then these pink wetlands are a different classification. They're called wetland of special significance because they're tied to this IWWH, which is an inland wading bird and waterfowl habitat with marsh out there. In addition to that, we're meeting all the current setbacks of your new ordinance, which is 200 feet. So we're 200 feet from all property lines. And then it's hard to see from here, but this is all the vegetative screening that we're proposing, basically 270 degrees, call it around the facility. And south here, it's hard to see, but if you come down South Monmouth Road, there's a existing stand. It's quite lush of vegetated. It's like evergreens all planted that screen this house. So we're counting on that as part of our screening to screen our facility. But as I said, we're 200 feet back from the property lines, and elsewhere where there is not existing vegetation, we've got double rows of evergreens with some shrubs to fill it in and block it out as.
Okay. Let me ask you, when's the last time that you looked at the ordinance for
We have the latest version that was approved.
updated?
I don't know the date. I know Steve sent it to
I
us.
think Steve sent it to him.
Yep. This went to them.
Okay.
On the chain.
Yeah.
I saw the chain, it went to them. So,
Yeah.
Within the half mile
yeah.
radius?
Yep.
Okay. So I wanted to make sure that,
Yeah,
Well,
so
these 3 pages went to,
I beg your pardon?
these 3 pages went to, which is the update.
So we are aware that there is previously approved project up here. It is within half a mile of us. But again, our understanding is that the permit for this project is expiring. I'm not sure if that's been extended or applied to extend it, so. Our plan is to move forward as it doesn't exist and submit our full application for your next. planning board meeting.
That was my question. Yeah.
Well, we can't act upon it unless it has expired.
And it was,
I don't think it has expired yet. I don't have the date
It hasn't
in front of me.
No,
In March.
March it will,
Yeah.
March.
is it
before.
March 1 or March 31?
Eight.
March,
March 8th.
8th, it was
March
the
8th.
night of the meeting. So, pre-application, we can act on, we can listen to,
So
we just won't be able to schedule you before March 8th. If they have not extended it.
So our intent here is just to, other than that, get some preliminary feedback, make sure we can answer your questions, then we do come in with our full application to address any concerns.
How many of these projects have you done?
Have I done personally? Soul America and I together have done a dozen plus together. I've
Where?
done,
Here in Maine,
yeah.
but we've done many more in other states.
Okay.
We've been, Soul America's been around since 2009, and this is what we do community scale projects.
Just gives us a little background.
that's a reasonably, 20-acre piece that you're gonna be leasing out of,
Yeah, the total lot's 41 acres.
41?
Yeah, most of which, because this is wet and it gets down here and it's an odd shaped parcel, we can't get to that. So this is the best ground and kind of nestled down in the corner as much as we can. The roads and new butters.
How far back from the road is the first set of panels? Do you not have that
It's
dimension?
right on 200 feet
Right
from
on
the
200.
property line, and then, you've got an extra 5-10 feet to the edge of the road.
To Fish Hatchery, how about South Monmouth?
So our 200-foot line is here, so add another 40 feet.
Okay,
So we're 240.
okay.
And from South Monmouth, actually, it's 200 to this abutter, the JJ Holdings, so we're another probably 500 feet from Fish Hatchery Road.
okay, and that's all planting
And this is all plantings right here,
and then.
up around through
Okay.
here. And then we've got a couple, so again, there's vegetation along the road here, along the road here. This is nice evergreen, but some deciduous along here, so we've got a couple additional plantings to kind of cut off the view if you're zipping by on South Hatchery Road. So if you're looking up it, again, we can't help, you'll see up the road a little bit, the road has to be open, but other than that, we're covering our bases.
And that's a new road.
This will be a new road, yeah. Existing curb cut, it ends about here, and then I think we're about 730 feet to get into where our NFPA turnaround will be.
Do you remember the specifications on the road? So we can just go over that real quick.
Yeah, the road will be gravel. And then we're less than 20,000 square feet overall impervious, so we stay below the stormwater PBR. We'll be able to have a stormwater PBR with DEP, but we will need a phosphorus control plan that we'll submit and that the Friends of the Cobsey Watershed will review as well.
Okay.
No clearing was necessary for this project, and the field itself in its existing condition is suitable for the racking as proposed. So really, no grading, no substantial earthwork outside of the building or driveway.
And plants.
And plants, yes. Well, that's a positive amount of disturbance, and then some trenching for underground cables and become underground to the road. We'll have 5 poles and then interconnect along.
How have you in the past or in Maine dealt with the vegetation underneath the panels?
So it is a requirement of Maine EP's state rules that you can't mow more than twice per year.
Right.
So that would be maintained in here. And generally, Soul America's operations plan is to 21 inches, not exceeding 21 inches. So typically, if a hayfield like this twice a year will be what they need and all they need, I think.
Okay. Maximum height of the panels off the ground?
So this is about off the ground would be about 36 inches to 4 feet. And then the back height when you're at 60 degrees tilt, because these are the ones that track with the sun, you're probably talking 8 or 9 feet.
And the height of the fence?
8-foot fence.
The height, when it's at 60 degrees, will be more than 8 feet.
Oh, yeah.
I expect it to be closer to like 12.
Okay, so first thing in the morning and late in the afternoon.
That's it, yeah. But we haven't designed the piles yet.
Okay.
So once we design the piles, we'll be able to have a reveal height, and we'll be able to tell you. Like,
Okay.
height.
You're leaving them up high enough though that you can mow twice a year?
Yes, sir.
Under.
And the height from the ground and the fencing so that wildlife can be moving across that field, because behind that field, you've got the hills and
Correct.
forest and.
Well, not through the project though. You're not gonna put animals through the project,
No, but they've got to be able to get around it.
around it, but that's outside the fence line.
So what about the 5 inches on the bottom?
Hmm.
Yeah, so we'll have, what we're proposing is like a fixed knot agricultural fence, and then a requirement is to leave it 6 to 8 inches above the ground.
Right.
So
Exactly.
that'll be
Okay.
incorporated here, so small critters can get through.
Sure.
right
Yep.
here.
That's essentially what. Has there been any discussion in your company about using the area within the array for any kind of grazing?
We talk about this a lot, actually. Ryan's our resident expert on it in Seoul America, but agrivoltaics is what you're getting at.
Yeah.
That can be done a lot of different ways. Probably the coolest way is with sheep.
Mhm.
He's on.
Yeah, there he is. Ryan, do you want to talk about agrivoltaics a little bit?
I love talking about agrivoltaics. So yeah, the kind of most common way right now is, like Tony was saying, sheep grazing. With the site, of proposed like ours within the fence line, we're looking at about 10 acres. So it's going to be a kind of a smaller flock of sheep. We have been discussing with some sheep owners in the state of Maine that would be interested in kind of starting up these kind of maintenance programs where they have their sheep come in and essentially mow the grass for us.
Mhm.
And the way that's set up is, again, with a 10-acre site, they wouldn't be out there year round. Obviously, the grass isn't growing year round, so we wouldn't need them out there. But they would come in, kind of manage the site, something to that extent. So that is something we are looking into. To be quite honest, it's a growing industry to have sheep herders come in and provide those services. But that is something that we're knowledgeable on, and we're trying to grow and have it any site that we can.
Do goats work as well?
So we don't like goats
No,
because they climb on
climb.
stuff. And there's a lot of glass on these. We don't want.
I would like to point out that knowledgeable goat people have said that that is a misunderstanding, and that there is only one kind of goat that is going to go climbing. The rest of them will stay on the ground, but
So the
Yes,
industry has tried this, and whoever did, they picked the wrong goats then.
pick the wrong goats.
We'll look into that for sure.
Okay,
We need someone to kind of push us back in the direction of goats, because goats are
goats are good.
very, very good animals. Absolutely.
Goats are good. And again, very knowledgeable people said, no, 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 no. Give
Are there
goats
like-
a chance.
We haven't looked into goats in Maine. Are there a lot of goats in Maine?
I think it's,
More sheep, but there are some goats.
yeah, there are some goats, and I would say, again, that you've got, they're small. And tend to be localized. But the cottage industry of goat cheese and goat's milk and goat soap and all of that. Again, but it's not huge. But
Yeah.
maybe a small like this, you could, there are things right around here. So,
Thank you.
That is good to know. One farmer that we have talked to in the state of Maine, they do have goats as well as sheep. So we kind of instantly, said no goats, but I think it sounds like we need to go back to the drawing boards there and make sure, do our due diligence.
check out the goats.
Well, you
Anyone
have your
else?
stumbling blocks ahead of you, which is the permit. Somebody else beat you to it. So we're,
Yeah,
we're
we
in a
have-
waiting game, you're in a waiting game.
Hmm.
You know, anything you spend until March 8th is totally on you. I would think a phone call, you know, somewhat after March 8th to the CEO will let you know whether that has been, an application has come in to extend it.
So say they get it extended, what would our process be if we still would like you to consider letting us build this project?
Probably multiple hoops to jump through.
Yeah, it would be almost impossible, I think, because this was just approved, the 200 feet, the half a mile, so. That was put in there with a lot of painstaking back and forth, so I don't know if anybody's right now ready to reduce that.
There is some workaround even within the ordinance though, isn't there? So if there's existing vegetation.
Yeah, I guess there is, I have to read it again.
What was that?
What was, yeah,
So if there's existing vegetation sufficient to provide for screening for the roads.
Visual screening,
yeah.
that would be a must.
Oh, yeah, visual screening. However, the other project that we're waiting on, there is a partial. And yeah, we want to leave whatever exists and is appropriate for the area, that stays, so you can work around that. But the half a mile is, I don't know about that. I don't think there's a workaround for that. Maybe, I don't know. I helped work on it, so
At this
I
point,
don't think
We'll
there is.
cross that bridge.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think we'll all take a look at it again, just so we're up to stuff, but,
yeah, a fair amount of pushback, and that's why that half mile is,
Mhm.
yeah, there was quite a bit of push.
that was kind of a compromise that had to be made.
Didn't come from us, believe me.
Where you're proposing that couldn't be relocated on this parcel any place?
No,
Not-
not because of the natural resources.
Yeah,
Not to get half a mile, right there,
It's like a,
right,
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's
there's the building.
Right there,
You can see
yeah.
the front of the building.
mile out of that.
Oh, no, no.
Yes. We wait till March.
March 8th.
It says, it does say, unless the project area is fully screened from adjacent roads and abutting properties. We screened, you know, that's to a height of the top of the panel, so that's completely screened. Either you're gonna put mature trees in or plants in, or get screening of some sort, and then we have to look at, the fence law, because you're to an abutter, anything over 6 feet is a nuisance. So you have to look at how the legislature wrote that.
Anything over 6 feet is a nuisance.
Is a nuisance to an abutter.
So a tree that's over 6 feet?
No, fence,
No fencing.
Oh,
Yeah, they call it spike fence.
gotcha.
fight fence, so. There's things you have to work around.
Sure.
Let's just wait.
Okay.
Any comments to help us improve this? To the point where we can bring it in front of you?
No, I don't see any right off the top of my head, I mean, I imagine that the gate is gonna be locked and we'll have fire department access if need be. And that hammerhead at the end is large enough, that meets the criteria,
Yeah, that's NFPA,
okay.
large enough for 40-foot apparatus.
What's on this side? I see the pink. The bottom, yes,
Like this
there's
one,
a property line,
right here, yeah.
yeah. And is there anything between your array and that property line?
Yeah, there's an existing hedgerow of evergreens.
Okay,
They're quite tall and quite lush right through here,
okay.
and they go along pretty much
So-
right along the property line.
So that would be a
Outside.
screen.
Correct. That's why I think that's.
Okay.
And then again, there is vegetation all around. This is relatively open, but because there's deciduous trees, we need to get some evergreens to provide year round.
But you guys have any more questions? We're okay with it until we get
Gotta
further
wait.
along.
Wait.
It's getting easier, isn't it? More and more people doing them, so more and more plans are coming in better than the first ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess. Rob, you represent MB Bar?
Great idea and concept to be able to break this thing down to bag size, but I'm the strongest.
Make sure you receive the latest update that.
How recent?
Last week.
Jeez, no, Andy didn't send me that one.
I think you got it. I'm not 100% sure, but well,
So.
I actually didn't know I was on tonight's agenda until I looked on the agenda.
Oh, really?
So.
you must have asked for it.
Apparently, I did ask for
Our
it.
ordinance on the town website.
Why not?
Don't ask me,
Okay,
Don't ask me either.
because it was passed.
ask Mark. We amended the ordinance.
Yep, the town people voted on it.
Yep.
Yep. And it never got updated on the town website,
Ooh.
the old version. Justin's aware of. He's done, okay, it is currently updated, yes.
But it was only updated last week.
Yeah, but the application had, there was a solar application in, I'm gonna say my office, it's not my office anymore. That had this already printed and that was handed out. So he might have it. Unless he got it strictly off the web, but Andy
Yes, it was
would have
strictly off
given you,
Yeah, it was strictly off the web.
then you probably don't have it. But
So the newest parts I'm catching is 200 feet from a right of way. Or is it from any property line?
any property line.
Right, so what we'll end up doing, right now, we're showing 50 feet off the side property line.
Okay.
This is all gonna slide down and probably get rearranged. Appreciate it, thank you. But first, I mean, I don't know if you're familiar with,
Where,
Can you?
show us where the concrete plan is.
the concrete plant is right here. So all this area right here is being utilized by the concrete plant.
Okay,
So these are the structures that are in the concrete plant. So this is all open gravel laydown area.
right.
We're gonna be not nestled up here in the
What's the
woods.
furniture store?
Actually, I believe it's this one across the street or
No, that one.
this one here.
Okay.
It's on the same side, okay.
Okay.
So obviously it's at the Haley's concrete plant. So the MB Bark LLC is gonna be receiving as a lease agreement right now to utilize this portion of the site. We are trying to maintain setbacks off of the existing stream that's along the property line. But as we have it designed, we are staying out of those setbacks that the DEP regulates.
Is it all forested wetland?
Uh,
Where you're putting it?
it's all forested, there's no wetland.
Okay,
So there's the stream here, is the associated wetlands. And then this is all uplands, except for this little pocket of wetlands there. So there are absolutely no wetland impacts associated with this.
okay.
And actually, because the only place that's within 75 feet of the stream that will be impacting is actually just cutting 3 trees, but they're gonna leave the stumps in place, which means they can actually, because there's no ground disturbance, it doesn't meet the definition of needing. Yeah,
the Natural Resources Protection Act. So right now, they're gonna use the existing gravel driveway and then continue the gravel driveway up in this direction. There's gonna be a hammerhead that's big enough to turn around a 40-foot fire truck out here, and then obviously the gate will have the Knox box out back in front of it, just so the fire department can get in if need be. This is actually, it's a 0.5 megawatt system, so it's it's about half the size as the other one that was just up in front of me. Let's see here. The fence is proposed to be at a 7-foot agricultural style fence with the 5 inches of open area underneath. So really the biggest change that I'm seeing out of tonight is really looking at providing that 200 feet of setback from the property line. We're relatively close to the town line, so I don't know if there's any other solar farms within a 0.5 mile. Something that we can definitely look into. So that was the two.
This area, excuse me, did you say this area is now forested?
Yes,
So you're cutting down the trees?
correct. So the amount of clearing will be right around 0.8 acres. So everything within the fenced area would be cleared, and then as with the other solar array, it'd be grassed and then cut every no more than twice a year. I think for the most part that kind of covers one item that I would like to talk about is we've gone through the solar array performance standards and also the site plan performance standards, and we have no problem meeting those requirements. The one question I do have is if you'd actually entertain a waiver of one of the submission requirements, requiring a high intensity soil survey of the property, because it's a site plan. That was one of the items that was required, and because we're not proposing any type of a on-site septic system, because there's not going to be any bathrooms or anything associated with this development, I'm not sure that other than some more detailed stormwater calculations. I don't know if there'd be a purpose for it. You know, when we go through to do the calculations, we're going to use the medium intensity soil surveys, which county-based are typically utilized for. I appreciate it. Thank you. Typically utilized for larger stormwater related design. So just wanted to get your sense on allowing that performance, not performance standard, but the submission requirement waiver. I'd like to also see if that was something you'd be entertaining. Other than that, I mean, yes, open for any comments. Obviously, we'll make the adjustment to slide the field down. Maybe a slight change to the orientation of panels. We don't want to encroach too far into the concrete plant facility because
Are they tracking panels?
no, they are not.
This stationary.
That's my understanding. Yes.
What's around here? Is this all forested? So you're going to be cutting a hole in the middle?
Correct. So everything else would be screened from the array itself, but yes, there will be some tree clearing associated with it.
Some, 2.5 acres.
2.5 acres, yeah.
Of that, and then you've got the stream. How close is the stream to the proposed?
It's no less than 75 feet from the edge of the fence or edge of the clearing. There'll be no clearing within 75 feet of the stream.
75 feet.
Yeah.
Of the stream. And what's the? Okay, you can see elevation here. What's the elevation, again, in connection with the stream, I assume?
The stream's significantly lower than the.
Well, usually they are.
So it's 212 elevation is where the array is. The stream's down at 190, so it's 20 feet lower.
I ask this for two reasons. One, I have difficulty getting around what seems to be, to me, illogical. Because trees provide us with carbon capture. And I understand all of this stuff, but somehow cutting trees down that are already doing a great job doesn't make sense to me. The other problem is that in this area, and we all know this, that all of the water areas are all connected, whether you see a stream or not underground. And when you go across 202, there's a whole area of wetland. And then you've got Wilson Pond, and you've got Cobussy, and you've got Annabessacook. All of that water is connected. And the trees on that 2.5 acres affect how that water moves underground. And we know that. And so when you're cutting down 2.5 acres of trees, my question is 75 feet to me. I just, what is the ultimate effect on the ground around the area, and how does it affect the water coming, the stream, because it's coming from, again, coming up from up there and moving down to Annabessacook. How is that water movement both within the stream and underground affected by cutting down 2.5 acres of trees?
So, I mean, not that I don't understand where you're coming from, but part of the, I guess the difference with it, why this site is actually a lot different than most wooded sites, is everything from here down goes into the concrete plant's working area. So it's, even if there is some benefit to the forested areas here, any water comes down and goes into the gravel area part of the plant. So it's not exactly pristine water that's coming off of the site. I definitely understand that we want to preserve as many trees as we can, which is why we've made the distance between the edge of the panels and the fence line as narrow as we can. We're showing about 10 feet right now, and that's relatively tight for a solar farm. So I definitely understand where you're coming from with this, but I think this is not a lot of this, the actual site goes towards that stream. And I think that was probably part of why this site was selected for, well, I say that it's been, I don't know how long the concrete plant's been there, but looking at the size of it, it's been there for quite a while.
Okay, well, but it's not just surface water.
Yep.
That is a concern. Again, all the water, this whole area, all the water is connected both on the surface, but also underground. And well, we don't see it, but it's there. And the trees, in fact, do have an effect on the movement of water and how well it does move. And if it doesn't move, then we have flooding. And the last 2 storms, we've had flooding. Cut down those trees, you're gonna have more flooding. Just,
The concrete plant flooded?
I don't know. It might be interesting to find out. I would like to know.
How functional is that concrete plant currently?
To be honest with you, I'm not 100% sure. I know it's still active, but it's, again, I'm not, I'd be lying if I told you exactly how active it is. I can definitely.
Yeah, I'd like to know after the last 2 storms, which were incredible, flooding where there'd never been anything. And I would be curious.
I can definitely look into that.
Yep.
Set up there, fine. Okay, so
No, I've got,
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. Anyone else have any?
I have a comment, and I don't know, it was probably 15 years ago, I used to hunt that piece of woods a lot. And I assume it's still the case, but there was acres and acres of property behind that concrete plant that are covered in concrete. They now make blocks that they sell. They have a truck that comes back with a couple yards on it. They 4 blocks and sell them.
Waste blocks, yeah.
Back when that plant first started, they did not do that. Truck would come back with a couple yards. They would back to the back corner of the lot and pour it. And it inhibited the growth of trees. You walked on concrete for acres
really?
behind that, yes, behind that plant.
Well, Mark, could you? Of course, it's snow now, but
Yeah, and I can't imagine, I mean, it would have been a major undertaking to go out there and remove that concrete, but there was a lot of ground.
acres?
15 years ago, there was acres. You walked for a long time on concrete without ever touching the dirt.
Wow.
Yeah, not that it affects this. But there's a lot of ground that's not getting water going down through it.
Oh, no.
That plant.
So well, my next question is, where is that water going? Because you know that it's all coming underground anyway.
Eventually must run off that concrete, and I'm sure there's cracks and where it does get down through it here and there, but there was.
That
acres
sounds
of
like a
ground.
mess.
There would be no vegetation there for, I mean, probably 100 years. The concrete would break down eventually, and the plants grow through it, and roots grow in it, but it may have already started, but that ground, there was acres and acres of ground that you walked on concrete for a long ways out there.
That might be a good place to locate that, right?
Ground's already. Ground's already covered.
It's already smushed.
Speciality. It's gonna be hard to find files.
Yeah, I was thinking that,
Yeah.
actually.
You'd have a solid base for
I'd
that.
like to see
Good
that
question.
sometime. I mean, I'd be interested in going out there.
Sure, if you walked in and said, I'd like to pour your 8 acres of solid concrete out here, they're probably gonna say, we're not giving tours.
Yeah, not today.
They probably should have done. Stormwater effects are
I'm
not.
guessing that it should not have been done.
Oh, no.
And it has not happened. I'm gonna say the last 15 years or more, it has not happened.
The last 2 owners.
But it did happen for a long time in the plant, the first run.
Okay.
Years.
Well, yeah, we can't, exactly. We can't point fingers now, but I'd like to see what it looks like out there. And if there isn't any chance of mediation or something.
You have any
Not,
questions?
not the town of Monmouth.
The only question I have, just because it is gonna take some coordination, is that waiver request, and any thoughts on that? If that was something that you have been requiring for all the different projects, then we can definitely get that in the works, but I just was hoping to not have our soil scientist going out there in the middle of winter digging holes for
They
to
might
figure out
be
the
able to
soils.
dig anyway. It might be
Very
all
good point.
concrete.
I don't ever remember us waiving that rule. I sat on that side for 18 years. I don't ever remember seeing it not go through.
I don't recall either.
Come up with some reasons if you can't do it and present them.
Yeah, I'm good, unless you guys have any questions.
I'll be honest with you, I haven't gone through all 50 pages of the app yet.
Mm.
We will next month.
Yeah, the majority of that app is the lease agreement, just to show right title and interest. But, yeah, we'll definitely, we'll do some digging into, really digging, for the soils, and then also, all the other requirements that you have on the, that. And can you think of any solar farm that's been approved within a half mile of this. I guess I can talk with Andy about that.
No, there's no other solar project anywhere around there.
No,
Appreciate it.
Was something floating around about another one, but I've never heard nothing.
no.
It's not there. Not in the last 20 years, that I know.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Quite welcome.
Well,
Yum. I bet it was. I've seen deer tracks. This is the first year I think I've actually seen deer tracks in my house. They usually go around. And they're not, they're right at my house. And I have seen twice now, last week.
Okay. Other business. I would entertain a motion that we table the review of the fees until next month, because Steve did the bulk of the work.
Make a motion to table it next meeting.
I was ready, but I'll second it. I was ready.
I'll wait till Steve then.
Wait
Well,
for Steve.
And Dave and.
Wait for Steve.
Yeah.
Mark won't mind. Okay,
All right, and what is,
public comment?
are you public comment?
Lake Star's table.
Yes,
Yeah,
That's tables as well.
till next month.
Yeah, public comment. I hate the thoughts. When they used to say, we're gonna do a 25-acre clear cut up north, the people cried about the animal habitat, you can't do that. And they went to cutting strips and leave little strips of wood, and cut another strip, and now we think nothing of fencing 10, 20, 30 acres in the name of green energy. The animal habitat that is no longer available for the deer, fox, coyote, yeah, they can scoot under that thing, but they're probably not going to. It changes their behavior. Saving the planet, I guess it just depends on what you're trying to save.
Yep.
And at some point, we keep covering our farm fields and keep fencing what used to be woods or wildlife habitat. At some point, we gotta find a balance and,
They're not giving us anything back. They're just taking.
Yep.
We don't get any of this electric. We don't get any of the benefit from it,
Well, that's another question.
except for that one that hasn't renewed.
Yeah,
But
he was gonna sell it back.
yeah, they were gonna sell it back, but you know, it was first come, first served, the first
Mhm.
25 people, you know, out of 4,000, you know.
in my opinion, the biggest reason this all happens is there's a lot of people making a lot of money.
Yeah.
And at some point, we may want to consider moratorium to stop solar development.
I mean, we had it for 6 months.
Yep.
It just never got renewed.
Everybody should do their share, but I think we're getting close to doing our share.
Before we go any further, I wanna, can we have an adjournment?
Make a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Meeting's closed.
There you go.
Now we're off the record.
That was my public